Welcome to the Lifted Lifestyle Podcast. This is a call to action to live above limitations that try to disrupt your peace, steal your joy, and limit your access to your best life. I am Latasha Weatherspoon, the Chief Empowerment Officer of the Lifted Lifestyle and your favorite host. I'm joined today by my favorite host, Mr. Chaz Bailey.
Hello, world. This is Chaz Bailey, Creative Opportunities. Good to be back. Glad to be here. You can find me online on Twitter at Chaz Bailey, Instagram at The Creative Opportunities. Great to be back.
And you can find me on all social media platforms at Tasha Spoon. And, of course, at our home base, the Lifted Lifestyle website, which is www.theliftedlifestyle.com. How are you today, Mr. Bailey?
I'm doing all right. It's a sunny day. We've seen a little rain and different things, but it's sunny. It's nice. It's not too hot yet. So I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
Doing pretty good.
As is customary for all of our shows, we're going to start this show with a moment of gratitude, as gratitude is the gateway to all abundance and joy. So what are you grateful for?
Yeah, I'm grateful for... What am I grateful for today? I'm going to just do it for today, not this week. For today, I'm grateful for friendship. Because a friend in need is a friend indeed. And my friend brought me to the studio today because I have my vehicle. And, without that, I wouldn't be here today. So shout out to friends. What up, Kobe?
Tribe life. Today, I am just grateful to be back in my element, back in the studio this week. I've been so busy that I forgot how much fun I have just coming in and doing this podcast. So I'm definitely grateful for the podcast. And as always, our podcast tech, Mike is the greatest. So we're grateful for him.
He the man, the engineer with the plan.
He is definitely the man with the plan these days. So what are we talking about today, Mr. Bailey?
From what I understand is growth and change. Yeah,
growth
and change. So that's a little deep, but that's a little honest. So I don't know how we're gonna phase it, but we're gonna make it happen.
So when you think about growth, I think growth comes first, because change is the vehicle that gets you to growth.
Okay.
In my opinion, this is my humble opinion.
No.
Change is the vehicle that gets you to growth, because you think about it. Anytime you're in a season of your life, in business, in relationships, and personal ventures, whatever it is, if you want to grow, then something has to change.
Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true. When I hear growth and I start thinking, what grows? Grass. And when I think about grass, I automatically go to my 7th grade biology class and start thinking about photosynthesis and the process of a leaf or a stem becoming a leaf, and etc. But then as we talk about people, you want to grow in your business, you want to grow in your livelihood, you want to blossom to something beautiful and majestic. So then we turn into flowers, we turn into butterflies from caterpillars. So it requires some time for us to go in a cocoon and come out to be the element we want to be. So I think growth is a process that occurs with change, but growth requires change as well in our lives. So in order to grow, you have to be willing to change. So I think that's one of the more imperative parts of it.
And by definition, the word growth means the process of increasing. So whether, in a physical term that is increasing your physical capabilities, or if that's in, the terms of our business, whether that is increasing your reach, your range, all growth is about increase.
Yeah.
So one of the lessons that I'm learning in my life is you cannot get to increase, i.e. growth, if you are not willing to change your behavior patterns, change. Concrete example is change your time management. In my personal life, I'm learning that growth requires change in the systems of your business and the systems of your personal life. My time management skills have to be on point these days because I have so many different things that require time that happen stacked one after the other. know?
Yeah.
So, and it's kind of like that domino effect, you know?
Exactly.
So one thing falls and then everything falls. You know, you're late for the first thing, you're late for everything,
Exactly.
you know? But, and more than that, it's caused me to reflect on the fact that, you know, in order to get to a place of increase, you have to be willing to be flexible.
Yes.
And that's what change is. It is an openness to flexibility. You know,
Yeah.
earlier in my life, and still sometimes now, I struggle with change. You know, if you know me, you know that the things that I like are the things that I like. I could eat the same thing every day
Yeah.
because it is what I like. But, you know, trying new things, you know, bring a sense of adventure and joy.
Yeah.
But, you know, all of those changes bring growth and expansion and increase in your being because you've tried new things and all those things. But I'm learning right now that as growth comes, things have to change.
Yeah.
You have to change how you do things. You have to change your ability to delegate. You just have to be willing to be flexible. And for me, that's what change represents, an ability to be flexible.
No, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. And one point I think that you were alluding to is what requires you to get to the next level, and that's change. But a lot of times what I think about is change is something that we want, we hope for, but when it happens, we're never ready and we don't want it anymore. Because it's one of those things where you have to change your particular element. As you said, with time management, new responsibilities require changing of schedules, changing of practices, changing of your protocol. And that's what some things that gets us uncomfortable, because as we move through life, we want these change. We want to grow better. We want to put ourselves in position always to win. But in order for change to take place efficiently, you have to you have to understand that to get what you want, you have to give something. It's a balance of life. It's the yin and yang of life. Because if I want this change to take place, what has to be done in the background for this change to happen? And so sometimes when you look at your business growth, depending on what type of business you're in, or if you're just a worker, where do you want to be? You understand where do you want to be. So now you notice that you don't have as much free time because it requires you to study. It requires you to get your resume in order. It requires you to have a mentor in that field. So now some of your leisure activities have been placed on hold. Sometimes in school, you want a better grade. You can't do the same things that got you a C. You have to do a little more to get that B and even more to get that A. And in life, I think with change, you have to understand that it's a balance, but also that balance will pay off. So what leverage are you placing towards your change?
And I think we also have to go into it with a mindset that change is inevitable.
Yes.
If we're hoping to grow, change is inevitable. You will have to change your processes. You will have to change your mindset. You will have to change your approach in order to get from one phase to the next phase of your life. You know, I often tell people that are always like, oh, I just need more money. I need more money. Well, if you don't change your money mindset, it doesn't matter how much more money you have if you still are doing the same things.
Oh, exactly.
If you still have the same wasteful practices.
Yeah.
So you have to change your mindset in order to change your relationship with money.
Exactly. In terms of money, the one thing that sticks out to me is your bank account status or the money you touch may grow, but at the end of the month, you still sitting there with that same balance because, you know, you say, once I get money, I'm going to do this, that, and the third. So you acquire other expenses because the expenses that you have currently, you have wasteful practices with. So I give you $1 million. All that's going to change is that the store that you shop at may change. But at the end of the day, when you look at the percentage of what's in the account, you're still making the same move. So it's no difference than having $1 million or, you know, $20. It's still spent in the same wasteful manner. So at the end of the day, you're operating in the same space as you were before. And in life, no matter what that is, it may be to gain more money. It may be to gain a better standing in your business, better standing in a relationship, better standing in school. Whatever it is, if you don't understand the fact that a change has to occur internally before it happens externally, then you'll be operating on the same playing field, and at the end of the day, it's going to be a balanced, even playing field. Zero still going to equal zero, whether you started with $1 million or one. I think that's,
and you know, the one thing I think that why a lot of people don't like change or have a hard time adjusting is because change is uncomfortable.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
is.
but so is growth. You know, when you start thinking about going to the gym, and you're going to the gym, you want to change your body, you're working hard, those first few days are horrible. You're so sore,
Hmm.
you know, while your body is expanding, you know, that muscles take is replacing fat and all those
Yeah.
things, and tissue is tearing. It is a painful process. Life is no different. You know, change in our lives is not going to be a comfortable process, but we have to adjust to the process. You know, the same way that you have to do some things to ease the physical hurt of change, you have to do some things to ease the transition or adjust to life changes.
Yeah.
You know, because they are indeed inevitable, but it is not a comfortable process, but it's about your mindset going in. You know,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
me, I know I've had to remind myself of why things are changing.
Yeah, no,
You know?
that's something we have to do. And as you speak, as I always say, I start thinking, and little images pop over my head like a cartoon. So I'm going back when President Obama was elected. I remember people holding signs, "Change you can believe in." But we can all believe in the change, and we can all be hopeful of the change. But the part of change that makes things uncomfortable is the work that is required to allow change to happen. And so we have to think about, while we walk through life, we can say, I believe in change. I believe in my situation getting better. I believe in my relationship, my grades getting better. But if I haven't made the change necessary in my work ethic, in my habits that basically allow change to blossom, change can't take place. You have to have a caterpillar before a butterfly. You have to have a bud before you have a flower bloom. And so understanding that, you have to understand that growth is a process. Even we talk about the microwave age. No matter what you put in the microwave, it's still a process. It may be a fast track process, but it's still a process. So understanding that change requires work. It requires things to get uncomfortable. It requires sometimes struggle. Like when you talked about in your body, you're working out, your muscles are tearing, and you go back the next day and you're like, it hurts even more. So you focus on a different part of your body. Then now that time your upper body is healed. Now your lower body is hurting. So you're like, why am I going back and forth to that? But then let's say work. One joke I used to always say on Fridays, like when you walk into a job, people say, "Happy Friday." Thank God it's Friday, all these things. And I joke around and I say, well, I think I worked great enough this week that they're going to give me 2 days off. And so understanding that, but understanding the part of the insanity when I on the flip side, I joke and I say, we say we can't stand this, we can't stand that, but we're insane because we're going to turn around and come right back tomorrow and make it happen. Because the leverage we have for the change, we want to change in our lives so we get that income, we get strategies on growth, on what we want for ourselves. And so when we do that, we understand we're going back to the job for this. We're going back to the gym to get it healthy. We're going back to the study sessions to get better grades. That's the work ethic that creates the foundation of change to grow. And that's one thing we have to always remember. It's uncomfortable. And you're in college right now, you got to miss some parties. And every party you miss, when you go to someone, they're going to tell you it was the best one ever. So
There'll be more.
Yeah, understanding the
There'll
trend,
be more.
understanding the trend that each one is better than the last. If you put yourself in position, the next one, you're going to be there and you're going to be able to celebrate even more because you had an A on that test. You're going to be able to celebrate even more when you're able to graduate and not have to worry about stressful things that come on you by not allowing the change of your work ethic to take place.
And for me, I talk about change being an uncomfortable process, but focusing on the results that you are seeking, whether it be physical results, whether it be financial results, whether it be business increase, whatever you are working toward and for, if you focus on the results, that'll make the process of weathering the change a little bit easier.
Exactly. Exactly. It changes your mindset a little bit.
Yes.
If I go to the gym and they tell you, say, if you want to lose weight, don't keep looking at the scale and all of that. But when you go to the gym, you feel a little sore. Something about that soreness that drive you back and say, that arm hurt, but I gotta get back in there tomorrow because I want this part of the arm to hurt. Why this part not hurting? I ain't do something right. So then you say, well, my legs not hurt, so let me make my legs hurt, because you understand the background of the process that, okay, you have to tear something down to rebuild it. It's basically the reconstruction of your body, your business, the reconstruction of your business, reconstruction of your finances and scholastic studies, reconstruction of your mind and everything. So change is overall reconstructing. And in order to reconstruct, it requires that work ethic and growth. And that growth allows you to bloom and go into areas unknown. And you can live your best life, as we always say.
Now, one thing that I want to focus on is, in order for growth to be sustainable, it is important that when you change, you to make small changes. You know, don't try and change everything all at once. It's the same reason why they tell you when you first start working out, you know, don't go too crazy. You know, don't go too crazy at first, because you won't sustain it. Well, building a life that is your best life is no different. Make small changes that you can maintain over a period of time in order for them to show up in your life as the results that you're seeking consistently. You know, because a lot of times we jump into processes and that we want to see growth in, and we just change it all over from scratch, but it isn't maintainable when you do it that way. So if you start with small, consistent changes, it'll make all of the difference in ushering in the results that you're seeking in your life.
No, I agree 100%, because it's like walking to a door and saying, you know, I'm going to take the stairs. And in life, you have steps to get to your goal. You have an overall goal, but each step is a small achievement. Each step is a small step towards change. Now, you know, we have people that are a little longer than others that can take, you know, skip a step. But I have yet to see someone walk up 5-6 steps at one time. It's impossible. So understanding the simple logistics of walking up steps, if you can't conquer more than 2 steps at a time, why would we put that practice into changing our lives, into working out, into working on our relationships, into working in our classrooms? Why would we want to jump ahead of that schedule? Because, like you said, it's unsustainable. If you try to go to some steps and you try to walk up 5 steps at one time, you may hurt yourself. You're going to fall. And instead of falling, do that 1 step at a time, 1 step to your goal. You know, you want your business to be better, understanding an area, focusing on an area of need, focusing on your marketing, focusing on your financials, focusing on your staff. Slowly but surely, it's going to come together like a puzzle. Now you have like you said, you made a mosaic out of your mess. And so now you have that all together. Now it's a beautiful painting. It is something complete. And now change has happened. And when you sit back or you stand on top and look down, you say, man, look where I came from.
You be able to see the process.
You see the process. You say, wow, I came 100 steps from where I started, but I knew I couldn't fast track to these 100 steps. I knew I didn't skip anything in the process. And also, by taking those small steps, you allow yourself to celebrate your small wins. You know,
every
you go
win
to a
counts.
Gym, you go to the gym and you haven't been in a while. You say, you can reflect back on, man, I remember I used to throw this much weight up or lift this dumbbell, but you get in there, you can't lift a quarter of that. So what you do, you start working out with that, and then the next week you may be up 5 pounds, you may be up 10, and eventually you're going to get where you used to be or even surpass that. And then now you're like, oh, it's nothing. But it is something when you take time and look at it, you like, it took a process. I started here, fell to this, and slowly got myself back to where I was, and now I've surpassed the point where I ever been before.
And embracing change will help make you stronger, you know, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Change really will build your fortitude.
Definitely.
You know, in addition to that, I think that change makes us re-examine our life and our core values. A lot of times when drastic changes or even small, impactful changes happen in our life, they force us to look at ourselves with new eyes. You know, I'll never forget a friend of mine, one of my classmates passed away a few years ago, and that was a drastic change for me. But what it did was it put things in perspective for me, and it showed me how fickle life was.
Yeah.
and how suddenly it could end, because you think of death being a far off thing.
Mm-hmm.
But when someone who is your age that went to school with you your whole life passes away, it gets real.
Yeah, yeah, like, man.
And so it makes you adjust and reevaluate things. So change has its benefits.
Yes, it does.
Change and growth go hand in hand. So in a lot of ways, when you're weathering change in your life, it is because growth is taking place. Speaking of change and growth, the Lifted Lifestyle is going through an upheaval.
Yeah, a lot of change and growth.
A lot of change and a lot of growth. And so, guys, we want you to be patient with us and pardon our progress as we grow and we expand.
Yeah.
We have some great things on the horizon. So, for example, today is Saturday and we're taping our podcast on Saturday as opposed to on Wednesday this week. And I got a few messages. Hey, where's the podcast? What's going on? So we've been traveling because we will be opening a second office. So because we're opening a second office, we have to do a little bit more traveling to get that office off of the ground and get launched and ready. We have so many different things going on.
So many different areas. So many different areas. We have we're working on the new Black Girl Excellence rollout. So
yes. Okay, so
big.
let's back up a little bit for the people. Today is September 1st, 2018. So this will be the Lifted Lifestyle September to Remember. It is our 5-year anniversary month. So we are going to be celebrating and rolling out a lot of different things. So make sure that you stay with us.
I leaked it.
Yeah. So since he let the cat out of the bag, the Black Girl Excellence Awards 2019 will be happening in 3 different cities this year. 3 different cities this year. So we are going to have the Black Girl Excellence Awards in Montgomery, Alabama on January 26th, 2019.
Okay.
We will have Baton Rouge, Louisiana, happening on February the...
Sometime in February 2019.
February 9th, I believe it is.
I think it's 9th.
2019. And then Houston, which is where we've had it the last 3 years, will be March 2nd, 2019.
Yeah.
So we will be accepting nominations for award winners in all 3 cities. So if you live in Montgomery, Alabama, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, or Houston, Texas, please go and nominate the people who you think are standouts and powerhouses in their industries.
Yeah, definitely.
We will be honoring them with the Black Girl Excellence Awards National Tour in 2019.
Yeah, that's going to be big. That's going to be big and more to come. So don't just think this is it.
Yeah, we have a couple more things that we'll be rolling out that Chaz is not going to leak right now for the Black Girl Excellence Awards.
Sign the NDA.
Yes, I'm gonna have to get him to sign an NDA because he's just telling it all.
Yep.
But we do have some other surprises coming for the Black Girl Excellence Awards. And if you follow this event for the last 2 years, I always say when tickets go on sale, go and get your ticket. Do not hesitate. It will sell out this year. I am absolutely certain that it will sell out. Do not hesitate to go and get your tickets. We have some amazing surprises for you guys this year, and we're just amped up. We will also in September, we're going to be opening the Lifted Lifestyle Lake Charles.
Yes,
so we will have a second office in Louisiana. So you can expect events in Lake Charles, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Beaumont,
even New Orleans
and the surrounding areas coming soon, because we will be hosting a launch event in Lake Charles this month. So keep your eyes and ears open for that. If you do not follow us on social media, go and follow at Love the Lifted.
Yeah, that's
on Twitter. At The Lifted Lifestyle on Facebook and Instagram, as well as myself at Tasha Spoon and Mr. Bailey
at the Creative Opportunities Instagram and at Chaz Bailey on Twitter.
To keep up with all of the amazing announcements that we have, because I'll tell you right now, toward the end of the month, we're going to roll out something amazing. Like,
I can't
just
say it.
No, you cannot. Just
Don't ask me.
absolutely
I don't even know.
mind blowing, and I am so excited. You guys do not want to miss the things. We're also going to have some pop-up shops where we're going to be giving away some of the Lifted Lifestyles inspiration jewelry, some of the fabulous t-shirts like the one that I have on. Mr. Bailey does have some other surprises in store for this month as well, so go and follow us and be patient with us. We are growing, we are manifesting our dreams, and trying to grow our business as we grow with you.
Exactly.
We're helping to coach and increase more people, and that's causing us to expand. So pardon our progress as we are developing. Anything, no more secrets, but anything else you want to tell people?
I only got secrets.
Okay, so go on to the good news story for the day.
All right, this is my part. All right, the good news story of the week comes from is a 94-year-old veteran, and what he's done is spent a decade cheering on students with life advice and fist bumps. Now, what meant a lot about this story is because across the country now, we're leading up to Labor Day holiday, and this is when a lot of children go back to school. And one thing that I loved in seeing in the Houston area and is that people got together and cheered on students to their first day of school. Organization I'm a part of, the Emerging 100, we actually went out to a local school and cheered them on coming in school, and that's great. But what he did, he's been doing the same thing every day for a decade. Wow. So it's what I'm saying is just it's consistency is the key, because our children as well as the adults, we need encouragement every day. So what he does, he goes on a corner and stand there and as the kids go up, they fist bump him, and he tells them something of encouraging each day. And so the story took place, and one of the little girls that were going to school asked her mother to take her to the corner so she can say hello to the cute old man. And she was like, what? And she's like, because that's kind of weird. Your daughter say that. So she said, what? So she drove around to the corner, and she saw her child get out, and she saw a group of kids around him. They actually walk a different route to school so they can see him each morning. And he encourages them. He gives them life lessons, little thoughts for the day, and fist bumps each one of them as they go into school.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. So I'm thinking, like, overall, like we talked about growth and change today. For growth and change to happen, we have to also encourage others to help them grow and change along the way, and know where best to start than a middle school. He's doing this each and every day, and as they go into school, gives them little pieces of advice, and I think that's amazing because he's consistent in doing it. So what I challenge, since we didn't really say call to action, is that whatever you're doing to help and encourage others, do it consistently. Like, so if you're encouraging students like he did, do it each day, because first day of school is a milestone. But think about March when it gets a little tough. End of year when it gets a little tough. What about right before the holiday season when you just burnt out? These children need it then. But think about in terms of work. You get burnt out all the time. So just offer words of encouragement, or whatever you're doing to create positive change in your life and in your community. Just keep it up and do it consistently.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, thank you guys for joining us on the Lifted Lifestyle podcast. Again, I am the Chief Empowerment Officer of the Lifted Lifestyle, and this is our September to Remember, i.e. our anniversary month.
Yay.
So make sure that you go and follow me on social media at Tasha Spoon on all social media channels, and at the Lifted Lifestyle. And remember that as change occurs, it is only a vehicle that will lead you to growth, and growth is increase in your life. Thank you, and remember to live lifted.